When I was younger and I arrived at the go-kart track, I was definitely very much aware it was the only black family there. I do remember the looks that we got, particularly from kids, the negative comments again. When we were at these kart races, my dad just said, "Do your talking on the track." So we'd stay quiet, we would take the insults, we would take that negative energy and we'd turn it into positivity and we would win those races. And when we would leave after winning these races was the greatest feeling. So I think the important part of that message, no matter what you're going through, there is a way of turning it into a positive, channeling that negativity or that aggression, whatever it may be, and focusing it on what you love. I think that's why I'm able to drive the way I drive today, because I have that at the core of me.
Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton have been the couple everyone cannot stop watching this year. And if the whispers coming out of Kanye West's camp are anything to go by, the rapper is watching just as closely as the rest of us. Except his eyes are not filled with curiosity, they are filled with something far more complicated. Sources close to the situation have described West's mood shifting the moment Kim and Lewis stopped hiding and started living out loud. And anyone who has followed this family's saga for the last 5 years knows that when Kanye feels something, the whole world eventually hears about it one way or another. The question everyone wants answered right now is simple: is Kanye actually jealous of the man who has slipped into his ex-wife's life so effortlessly? Or is this just the noise that follows every high-profile breakup when the other person moves on first and moves on louder? It started quietly, the way these things always do, with grainy photos of Kim and Lewis at a Malibu restaurant, then a joint appearance at the Super Bowl in matching black outfits that read less like a coincidence and more like a statement. And from there the momentum never slowed down. Spa days, courtside moments, a Ferrari with Lewis behind the wheel performing donuts while Kim filmed from the passenger seat, laughing like a woman without a single care left in the world. And somewhere on the other side of Los Angeles, insiders say Kanye was taking notice of every single one of these moments, replaying them, sitting with them, letting them get under his skin in ways he was reportedly not prepared for. According to people who claim to know West well, his initial read on the relationship was dismissive. He assumed it was a fling, the kind of rebound romance that fizzles out after a few flashy dates and a couple of paparazzi shots. That assumption did not survive contact with reality. When Kim brought her children along on a trip to Tokyo, walking arm in arm with Lewis while St. Chicago and Psalm trailed behind them looking every bit like a unit, something reportedly shifted in Kanye. This was no longer a fling in his eyes, this was a picture of permanence, a version of his family with someone else standing where he used to stand, and sources say that image did something to him that the earlier photos never managed to do. The word being used behind closed doors is jealous, plain and simple, and while jealousy is a complicated emotion to pin on anyone from the outside looking in, the pattern of behavior being described paints a portrait of a man who is struggling to watch his ex-wife build a new life with someone who, by all accounts, is being incredibly good to her and to their kids. There are even claims that Kanye reached out directly to Lewis at one point, not to congratulate him, but to share information about Kim that insiders describe as unflattering. An attempt some say was less about protecting Lewis and more about protecting his own sense of control over a story he no longer gets to write. What makes this entire situation so magnetic to watch unfold is the history sitting underneath it. Kanye and Kim's marriage ended in 2022 after years marked by public turbulence, and Kim has been candid in interviews about the emotional toll that instability took on her and on their children. She has spoken about wanting safety, wanting predictability, wanting a version of family life that did not come with the constant anxiety of what might happen next. And now here comes Lewis Hamilton, a Formula One champion with a reputation for being level-headed, disciplined, and steady in a way that could not read more differently from the chaos of the West years. If Kanye is watching all of this and feeling something twist inside him, it would not be the first time an ex has struggled to watch someone else offer the version of stability they themselves could never provide. And yet the story does not sit still long enough to let anyone draw a clean conclusion. Just as reports of jealousy and late-night calls to Lewis were making the rounds, other sources close to Kanye began painting an entirely different picture, one where the rapper is not angry at all, where he has actually come around to liking Lewis, describing him as a good person, a smart person, someone he does not question when it comes to being around his kids. This version of the story has Kanye in a place of unexpected peace, focused on his music, his fashion, his marriage to Bianca Censori, no longer interested in inserting himself into Kim's love life the way he so famously did during her relationship with Pete Davidson years earlier. So which version is true, the jealous ex secretly stewing over losing his place, or the reformed father who has genuinely made peace with watching his children grow close to another man? The honest answer is that nobody outside of Kanye's inner circle actually knows for certain, and that uncertainty is exactly what keeps this story alive every single time a new photo surfaces of Kim and Lewis looking impossibly happy together. What we do know is that the timing of his reported outbursts lines up suspiciously well with the moments when the relationship stopped looking casual and started looking like something built to last. The Tokyo trip being the clearest example, a moment insiders say hit differently because it involved his kids treating Lewis like family rather than like a guest passing through their mother's life. There is also the custody angle simmering underneath all of this, because Kanye has been vocal in the past about frustrations with how much time he gets with his children, going as far as questioning publicly how their arrangement can even be called joint custody. Layer a new man into that dynamic, a man his kids seem to genuinely adore, and it becomes easy to understand why even a father who claims to be at peace might feel a flicker of something uncomfortable watching another man become a steady presence in his children's day-to-day lives. Whether that flicker is jealousy over Kim, jealousy over his kids' affection, or some tangled combination of both is something only Kanye himself could untangle, and he has not exactly been forthcoming about his feelings through any official channel. What nobody can deny is that Kim looks genuinely happy, the kind of happy that shows up in unguarded moments caught on camera rather than staged for an audience, and Lewis has, at least publicly, handled the entire spotlight with the same composure he brings to a race weekend, never engaging with the noise, never confirming or denying, simply continuing to show up for Kim and for her kids in ways that speak louder than any statement ever could. Meanwhile, the rumor mill continues to churn out competing narratives almost weekly, one report painting Kanye as a man unraveling with envy, the next painting him as a supportive co-parent who has genuinely evolved, and audiences are left piecing together the truth from a stream of anonymous sources who all seem to have a slightly different story to tell. Maybe that contradiction is the most honest thing about this entire saga, because people are rarely just one thing, and a man like Kanye West, who has spent years living his most private struggles in the most public possible way, is capable of feeling multiple conflicting emotions at once, capable of genuinely wanting his ex-wife to be happy, while also quietly wrestling with what her happiness with someone else actually means for him. Whether the jealousy reports are exaggerated tabloid fodder or a real glimpse into what is happening behind closed doors, one thing is certain: every single move Kim and Lewis make from here on out is going to be watched, dissected, and measured against the question that refuses to go away: how is Kanye really taking all of this? And the answer, for now, depends entirely on which insider you choose to believe.